for chanting.
Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Mena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you, Malati. Welcome all. So, Andrew, are you ready to read the verses for today?
Okay. Verse 36. And belittling your prowess, your enemies will say many unutterable things about you. Is there anything more painful than that? Destroyed, you will gain heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy this world. Therefore, Kanteya, Arjuna, get up, having resolved to fight. Taking pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat to be the same, prepare for battle. Thus you will gain no sin. This wisdom with reference to self-knowledge has so far been told to you. Now, Partha, Arjuna, listen also to the wisdom of yoga, endowed with which you will get rid of the bondage of action. In this there is no waste of effort, nor are the opposite results produced. Even very little of this karma yoga protects one from great fear. With reference to this moksha, Arjuna, the descendant of Kurus, there is a single, well-ascertained understanding. The notions of those who lack discrimination are many-branched and innumerable indeed. Partha, Arjuna, the non-discriminating people who remain engrossed in karma, enjoined by the Veda and its results, who argue that there is nothing other than this, who are full of desires with heaven as their highest goal, utter these flowery words that talk of many special rituals meant for the attainment of pleasures and power, and of results in the form of better births.
So, as we see in these verses, also the meaning is very clear. I want to just to mention that most of the people, they do karma yoga and they do Vedic rituals and they do things prescribed in the Vedas, not for self-realization, moksha, but for gaining material things, worldly things, or to have a better janma, a better reincarnation in Svargaloka. Svargaloka, sometimes it is translated as heaven, but in truth, this is not the best translation, because it makes us believe that it is something like the heaven of Christianity, where in Sanatana Dharma, Svargaloka is not really like the heaven in Christianity. It is a nice experience due to punyam, due to good karma. But when this good karma will be exhausted, the jivatmas will fall down into lower lokas, lower realms. So this I want to mention, plus that in Bhagavad Gita, we will see that the main focus is on moksha, on self-realization, and Krishna will show the difference between following Sanatana Dharma for worldly things, for your desires, kama, and for wealth, artha, and even for dharma, and will focus mostly on moksha. So I don't know if somebody would like to ask or to clarify something. If not, we can continue with the presentation from Malati.
No. Presentation from Malati. Okay. I thought
yes.
I thought Andrew is doing today.
Andrew next. He is next Sunday.
Okay. Just wait. I will bring my presentation.
Sure.
Just wait.
So before we start with Malati, does anybody wants to clarify or to ask anything? Yes, Andrew?
Yeah, the verse, it says, taking pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat to be the same. Prepare for battle, thus you will gain no sin. So, how can he possibly gain no sin just because he has a even mind? Surely the only way to gain no sin is if you have completely realized the lack of inherent existence of the self. So that's in as you know, in Buddhism, that's the first link in the 12 dependent related links. The mind of ignorance that perceives the person or the I or the self to be inherently existent. And as far as I was always aware that the only way you can stop creating karma, good, neutral, or bad, is if you have a direct realization of the absence of this person, and you gain the wisdom that realizes emptiness. So here it's saying, it doesn't even mention that, it just says he has an even mind. So, but it doesn't say that he's seen through the illusion of the ego or the person. So that's what. Can you clarify that?
Well, here the teaching that Krishna liked to transfer, to convey to Arjuna, is not about self-realization moksha, but to follow his dharma as a warrior, as a kshatriya. Because according to Sanatana Dharma, if you are a kshatriya, a warrior, you should do that dharma. And if you don't follow this dharma as a kshatriya, as a warrior, that would mean that you are creating sin, you are creating bad karma. But it is not at all this discussion about moksha, self-realization. It is on that lower level of Krishna, of Arjuna, to understand that he must do his duty as a warrior, as a kshatriya, and to defend dharma and to do his duty. Of course, later on, we will see that Krishna will go further and will explain that to follow your dharma is not the ultimate goal. We should go beyond even dharma. And when we go beyond Dharma is when we go towards self-realization moksha, whereupon we see that there is no such thing as Dharma. Dharma is also on the level of mithya, on the level of this dream reality. There is no Dharma in consciousness, in Brahman. It is also in the level of mithya. So in this level, he speaks now, Krishna to Arjuna, he speaks on a very, very low level, because first of all, Arjuna needs to remember that his duty as a warrior, as a Kshatriya, is to fight and to protect Dharma. So later on, he will go into more profound teaching, and he will explain and he will convey the highest knowledge to Arjuna, the knowledge which is connected with self-realization, enlightenment, jnana, but not on that point. Would you like more clarification?
So basically, when he says you will gain no sin, he's basically just refuting the fact that he won't create sin for not doing his duty.
Yes, he will not create sin, and he will follow his duty and his dharma as a kshatriya, as a warrior. And from that point of view, he will follow his dharma, his duty as a warrior. That's all. But not that, of course, that he will attain self-realization, enlightenment through fighting as a warrior. This is another teaching that Krishna will present later on. Also, I want to add that sin and the lack of sin are also mithya. There is no such thing as sin. There is no such thing as dharma. There is no such thing as a warrior, as a kshatriya. All these things are on the level of mithya, on the level of vyavaharika, which means on the level of the dream reality, the apparent reality, which is not existent. It's only an appearance. But he's escalating his teaching, and Krishna is starting from the low level until he will reach the climax of Advaitam, of non-duality teaching. But since Krishna wished to prepare Arjuna, he is starting on simple things, just like follow your dharma as a warrior. And then he will escalate more and more and more until he will reach the ultimate teaching. Somebody else who would like to ask or to clarify something? Malati is ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
you can start.
Okay.
Slowly, very slowly, and with a small pause after each phrase.
Namaste. I contacted Guruji Satchitananda when there was a great turmoil inside me. The agitation was unbearable, and as a last solace, I messaged Guruji for his guidance. I poured out my heart to him, and in return, I got his wise advice, wise teachings, and the assurance of guidance whenever I needed any. So, our question and answers was like this. My question was, I am a Kriya Yogi practitioner and practicing that since last 3 years. As it is coming under Upasana Yoga, now I am finding it really not connected to me, because now I am getting interest in Advaita, and being an Advaitin, I believe that this body is not real. So Kriya Yoga is making to concentrate on my energy and my energy centers. So I was feeling little bit disconnected with Kriya Yoga. So I asked Guruji about my dilemma. Then Guruji answered that Kriya Yoga is really a kindergarten school in the University of Spiritual Path. As you progress in the spirituality and now you are showing interest in Advaita, it is better to stop Kriya Yoga because Kriya Yoga is binding you to the body and energy. Then I asked, so do you want to elaborate on this? Guruji, do you want to elaborate on this?
Look, the point with Kriya Yoga is that all the work that is suggested to be done from the Kriya Yoga path is on the Pancha Kosas, on the layers, on the seeds. But we know from Advaita Vedanta, we know from this holy tradition, Guru Parampara, that the Pancha Kosas are just mechanisms in this dream reality. So the more you are focusing and working with the Pancha Kosas, the more you become attached and the more you reinforcing these Pancha Kosas, the illusion that they do exist. So it is better, since you are now very interested about the non-duality teaching and Advaita, to take that step to the beyond. And because any practice that is about the energy centers, the chakras, and any practice which is connected with Nandis, the 72,000 energy channels, and any practice that is connected with Pranamaya Kosa, the energy mechanism, and even practices which are connected with Kundalini, the rising of the Kundalini from Muladhara Chakra to Sahasrara Chakra, will bind you more and more in Panchakosas. So there is a lot of misunderstanding, especially in the Western societies and in Westerners, about what means self-realization, enlightenment, moksha. A lot of people, maybe 99.9% of the people, they believe that if they practice particular mystical practices, such as the work with the chakras or with the 90s or with the prana or even with the mind, that sooner or later they will have this exotic event of enlightenment, self-realization. But this is not relevant at all. It is completely irrelevant. Any practice that somebody will do with Kundalini or with the chakras or with the energy channels, the Nandis, will end perhaps in some occult powers. Siddhis and Riddhis is the Sanskrit word, whereupon somebody may even be trapped on believing that he is a realized master now that he has developed these spiritual powers. But this is completely condemned in Advaitam, because self-realization, enlightenment, moksha is not relevant at all to the spiritual powers, to the siddhis and riddhis. On the contrary, the siddhis and riddhis, the occult powers, may completely trap a person, a spiritual seeker, a mumukshu, because it will create the illusion that since I have now such wonderful powers, mystical powers, that I am enlightened or self-realized. But it is completely irrelevant. You may have incredible spiritual powers and not have jnanam. Jnanam is completely irrelevant. And Also, we may see in the scriptures a lot of examples of highly advanced spiritual powers in a lot of cases, and at the same time, these spiritual, powerful yogis to be completely demonic. We have a lot of such cases written. So, due to the spiritual powers, these yogis, they became very much proud for themselves, and their ego became 1,000,000 times more strong. So we see that in Advaitam the situation is completely different. If we see sages like Ramana Maharishi, for example, he was always condemning these people who were in search of spiritual powers, and he was saying very clearly that this can be a trap. Himself also never saw any such powers, and he was completely humble, and he was completely normal and just like a normal person. So in Advaitam, we focus on jnana, we focus on self-realization, we focus on recognizing the truth. We are not interested in developing siddhis and riddhis. Yes, continue.
My next question was, I got Kriya Yoga initiation from my beloved Guru, Sri M. Now, if I stop the Kriya Yoga and follow a new Guru, isn't it like betraying my earlier Guru? It was my question. The answer was, no, it is not like that. In a school, you start your study by learning ABCD from one teacher. Then gradually you develop your knowledge, and accordingly you go to the higher classes and learn more advanced teachings. There you cannot think of betraying the first teacher. By using the knowledge given by the first teacher, you could read, write, and understand the most difficult subjects. So, you should have gratitude towards the earlier teacher. The same rule applies to the spiritual path also. A body-mind complex needs purification to understand and study the Advaita. So, all other methods like Kriya Yoga, Japa, Bhakti will purify your body-mind complex. So, you need them and you have to stop them when they are not needed.
Yes, you see, all these practices and all these prescriptions from Sanatana Dharma are only for preparation, are only for Chitta Suddhi, which means purification of the mind. When they have played their role of purifying the mind, then you don't need to continue applying these practices. When, for example, we can see the phrase from Astavakra to Janaka in Astavakra Gita, where clearly Astavakra says to Janaka, are you not insane that you are meditating now? Like in a particular spiritual maturity, when you are enough mature, then even to meditate is not in need anymore, because this will create more vasanas in you. So when upon you know the truth, when you know the truth about who you really are, then, and that becomes a permanent recognition and conviction, then there is no need even for meditation. So what to say for other practices, such as Vedic rituals and upasanas and karma yoga and anything like that. I mean, all these are very, very useful in a beginner stage. Although when you are on the level of self-realization, enlightenment, moksha, you may continue do some things like that, like Vedic rituals or karma yoga or things like that, not because you need them for moksha, but in order to give a nice example for those around you. So you may see a jnani acting like a normal person, going to his or her work, performing Vedic rituals, for example, or puja, doing karma yoga, and things like that. But deep inside him or her, there is this knowing that there is no need anymore, because he or she may do all these things just as an example to the society, for loka sangraham, for the upliftment of society, and of course for the maintaining of this holy tradition and in general Sanatana Dharma. I think Nagaraju wanted to say something before.
Yes. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now coming to the point of practicing the yogic physical yogic practices like hatha yoga. Okay. First thing is, even for us to spiritually uplift ourselves, we need to keep our body healthy and mind healthy and sound. So does it not is it not wise enough to practice hatha yoga to maintain this body energy and energies, so that we can progressively move higher up towards Advaita?
Well, of course, it is very beneficial to practice hatha yoga when you know for which reason you are doing it. If you are performing hatha yoga and you believe that through this way you can attain moksha, self-realization, then you are in a trap, you are in an illusion. But if you, of course, you do hatha yoga for maintaining the physical body healthy and the prana maya kosha, the energy body, also healthy, then it is, of course, wonderful. The point is that a lot of people are practicing these things and they do believe deep inside them that through these practices they will attain moksha, self-realization. And this is a complete error, a very big error, and a very big mistake. Because jnanam, self-realization and moksha, can be attained only through jnanam, only through self-knowledge. Why? Because it is the lack of jnanam, the lack of self-knowledge is ignorance. So how we can go beyond ignorance? We can go through self-knowledge. We cannot go into self-knowledge through hatha yoga or through any kind of spiritual practices. So we need upadesa from a guru. We need mahavakyams and of course the mahavakyams upadesa from a guru. And we need a holy tradition, a guru parampara, whereupon we will attain moksha, self-realization. Meanwhile, until we have self-knowledge, until we will see on a permanent recognition and conviction our true nature, our true self, of course, we can do all these things of maintaining a healthy physical body and a healthy pranic body. But I repeat, we should know the difference and we should know the reason why we do these things. Because there is a lot of misunderstanding, especially for Westerners, about all these practices. So it is very, very important to remember that when we have ignorance for something, the only solution to remove the ignorance is knowledge. If we want to learn a musical instrument, we cannot learn this musical instrument by doing any kind of karma yoga, any kind of activity, but we can learn this musical instrument by following the instructions of a competent musical instructor or teacher, and by studying this instrument, by studying the music theory, and of course by practicing the instrument with the instructions of our music teacher. And the same if we want to learn a foreign language. We cannot learn a foreign language if we do any kind of physical activity or any kind of karma yoga or any kind of meditation. The only way to learn a foreign language is to go to a language teacher, study this language, express our doubts and our questions, and clarifying our questions to our language teacher, and gradually being able to gain that knowledge. So it is the same with self-knowledge. It is the same with moksha. The lack of moksha is due to ignorance. And the only way to gain moksha, to realize and to see the truth of our true nature, is through a competent guru, a holy tradition, Guru Parampara, and through Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. There is no other way.
But when and how we should decide that we don't need these upasanas or kriya yoga and all? When should we decide?
When you see that your interest is changing, and when you are attracted in a holy tradition, in a Guru Parampara, and when you are attracted in a Guru, and you feel santi, you feel peace, then that is these are the signs that you are on another level of spiritual maturity. When you are practicing a particular spiritual path, and you study in a particular spiritual path, and you feel deep inside you, in the heart of your heart, that something is missing, and you feel a kind of emptiness, a kind of void and lack of satisfaction deep inside you, then this is a sign that you need another level of teaching, another level of spiritual practice, and even another level of a guru. So according to the spiritual seekers, the mumukshus, there are accordingly different levels of gurus, different levels of teachers. And everything is okay, everything is wonderful. There is the teacher for kindergarten, there is the teacher of the basic school, there is teachers for the high school, there are professors for the college, professors for university. There are others who are for doctorate, masters, and even post-doctorate level. And the same with the spiritual practice, the spiritual path. There are different levels of teachers, different levels of gurus. So according to the capacity and the preparation of the student, accordingly, there is a need of a guru. And what is a guru? It is gu means the darkness, the ignorance, and ru, the one who removes the darkness and ignorance. It is that simple. If at a certain mature level you feel that a guru that you are following has no anymore the capacity or the ability to remove the ignorance when you have particular questions or doubts, then what is more obvious that you need to go to a higher level of a guru. It is very, very obvious. So it is simply like that. When you are feeling deep inside you, in your heart, that you don't feel any more peace, you don't feel santi, and you need something more that your current spiritual path and your current guru is not able to offer to you, then it is very legitimate to go to another guru and another spiritual path. And of course, Advaita Vedanta is a postdoctorate level. It is not for everybody. It is not for the masses. It is very, very, very advanced. That's why in Advaita Vedanta, there are no more than 5 to 10 persons for every country. Even in India, I don't believe that there are more than 1,000 ready ones for these teachings. In a country with 1,300,000,000 people, I don't believe that there are more than 1,000 Jivatmas ready for this teaching. Because it is so profound teaching, so transcendental, that you have to be in your last janma, in your last reincarnation, totally purified and totally ready in order to swallow, in order to assimilate that kind of completely transcendental wisdom. So it is like that.
After receiving these wise advice from Guruji, my mind became calm and began to understand the equations of spiritual world. Then Guruji asked me, "Who is worried? Is that really you or your mind?" I answered, "It is my mind which is worried." Then Guruji said, "Yes, these worries, anxieties are not you. It is the mind which is showing its tantrums. Since you know that you are not the body and not the mind, learn to ignore the mind. There is nothing called universe. There is no God, no Guru, no Shishya. There is no you and not even I also. There is nothing called moksha. Whatever you see, hear, touch and experience is not the truth. The Jagat, what you are experiencing, is just like a dream. When you sleep, you experience lot of things in your dreams. But when you get up, you come to know that whatever there is in dream are just false. They don't have any significances in your waking life. Similarly, when you come to know that you are not this body, mind, you are not this body-mind complex, and your true nature is Satchitananda or pure bliss, pure existence, then this Jagat will lose its importance in your life. You will see this Jagat as a movie playing on the screen. This state is called Jivan Mukti.
Yes, this I want to add that you are referring to a Guruji. When somebody appears as playing the role of a guru, that doesn't mean that the guru is the apparent existence, the apparent individual. It seems that there is somebody here as a body-mind complex playing that role, but the real guru is within you. It is your own self. It seems that there is here Sishyas and a guru, but in reality, there is only one consciousness interacting with itself. So there is no such thing as a Sishya and a guru, and there is no such thing even as a teaching. The teaching is useful until you see the ultimate truth, until you see the non-existence of Jagat, of the universe, and the non-existence of Jivatmas, the individual souls, and the non-existence of even God, Isvara. When you see that, then there is no need of any teaching anymore. There is no need of any path to moksha, to enlightenment, to self-realization, because you recognize that in the first place there is nobody. And what you really are is Nitya Mukta, is eternal liberation. Your true self, your true nature is eternal Mukta, is an eternal beingness which is completely enlightened, completely self-realized, and only one. But until you see that, until you have this permanent recognition and conviction, then we play this game of Sishyas and Gurus, and we play the game of following a spiritual path. But it is everything about that, about this, is only nitya, is only impermanent. And it is very, very important to remember that a real guru will never say to you to be dependent on him or her, will always mention that you are the real guru, you are the real teacher, your own self, your own nature. But we have this kind of apparent interaction on that level of Vyavaharika truth, on that level of apparent existence, because there is no other way. So here in reality, you see a body-mind complex wearing Rudraksha and giving some teaching, but in reality, it is your own self. It is your own consciousness. There is nobody here. It is only consciousness playing with itself. And whatever appears as a teaching and as an interaction between a guru and Sishyas are only in the screen of consciousness, in the screen of Brahman. And there is only that. So all the rest is only the playfulness of consciousness itself. Nothing more than that.
One of the Mahavakyas is Aham Brahmasmi. Here, who is chanting Aham Brahmasmi? Who needs this validation as I am Brahman? Guruji answer, the Brahman is without any quality, without any cause and effect. So it is not Brahman who needs validation, but it is Jivatma who wants to get that identity. Jivatma means consciousness with body-mind complex. Our mind is nothing but bundle of thoughts. It always tries to show it is independent of Brahman. This nature of the mind is main reason for Dvaita thinking, means this universe is different and this body-mind complex is different. To remove this ignorance or avidya, body-mind complex should think about the teaching of Mahavakyas. Analysis of Mahavakyas is very important to know the true nature of the Jivatma. So, when the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi is given by the Guru, Shishya should repeatedly think about this. Shishya should understand the real meaning of the Mahavakya. Shishya should not repeat it mechanically. Then mind slowly understands it is not independent of Brahman, but it is exactly the Brahman itself.
Yes, I want to add that when we speak about Aham Brahmasmi, it seems that you say that I am Brahman, that I am that, I am this infinite consciousness, awareness. And this moment, somebody may believe that himself and Brahman is merging to the other. But in reality, there is only Brahman, there is only consciousness. The one who says, I am Brahman, in reality does not exist, because there is only Brahman. So there is no somebody who finally is recognizing that he or she is Brahman. It seems like that because of the dualistic language. So it's the same with the wrong understanding, especially of Westerners, about enlightenment. 99% of the people in the West, they believe that they are somebody who will become enlightened, who will become self-realized, when in reality, there is nobody in the first place. So who will become enlightened or self-realized or gain moksha, if in the first place there is nobody? But unfortunately, the language is dualistic, and it is very, very easy to fall in a trap. The truth is that in the first place, there is nobody who can become enlightened or self-realized or gain moksha. The truth is that you must see and have a permanent recognition and conviction that what you really are has never been a person, an individual, a jivatma, an ego, or any kind of a separate existence. But what you really are is this infinite beingness, infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman. So there is nobody who can gain moksha, there is nobody who can become enlightened, there is nobody who can become self-realized or who can gain moksha. Then why the scriptures are speaking about that? Simply because you believe you are somebody. And because you believe you are somebody, you believe that you are a jivatma, you believe that you are a person, an individual, then the scriptures must come and start from this wrong belief. Until, after a lot of preparation, the scriptures will end up teaching you that there is no you as somebody, as an individual, as a person, as a jivatma, as an ego, who can become self-realized, enlightened, or gain moksha. But you must start with this kind of simple teaching and gradually to prepare yourself until you are ready to see the truth. And the truth is that you always, forever and ever, you are free. You are a liberated, infinite existence, beingness, truth, ananda, bliss, happiness, peace. But because you don't see that, you cannot recognize that, you cannot be in conviction, then you need this so-called spiritual path, and you need this so-called spiritual guide or guru, and you need the so-called guru parampara. But all these are mithya, all these are impermanent, are part of the dream. Even Advaitam is mithya. The term Advaitam presupposes the existence of Dvaitam, of duality. But when there is no duality, there is no Dvaitam, how it can exist Advaitam? Still, because you don't see that, because you don't see that there is no Dvaitam, there is the appearance of the teaching of Advaitam. Until you are ready enough and mature enough to see that there is no such thing as Dvaitam or Advaitam. And these are only simple concepts or mental things, simple thought forms. So all thought forms or concepts are losing their meaning upon having this permanent recognition and conviction that there is only Brahman, there is only consciousness, awareness, and nothing else.
My next question was, why different methods are used to explain the nature of Brahman? In some texts, Panchakosha Vichara, in some texts, Atma Anatma Vichara, and in some texts, Neti Neti methods are followed. Please explain the logic behind this. The answer was, yes, different methods are used to teach different levels of students. When we want to teach about the God to a kid, we cannot say that
So we see in
God is,
yes.
sorry for the interruption. So when we want to teach about the God to a kid, we cannot say that God is unseen, untouched, unexperienced. But we try to adopt a method by which the kid will know about the God very easily. We say that God is omnipresent, omnipotent, and he will listen and see your every steps and thoughts. So the kid will learn about the God. In the same way, different methods are used to explain about the Brahman. But whatever method you use, you need the help of a real guru who belongs to a Guru Parampara. By listening Satsanga in YouTube or studying the Shastras by yourself, you cannot reach your goal. So try to get a guru who is from a Guru Parampara.
Yes, the need of a guru is indispensable, and also indispensable is the need of a Guru Parampara, a holy and authentic tradition, and also the need of Sravanam, listening and studying the teachings under the competent Guru, Mananam, clarifying your doubts and your questions with the help of the Guru, and also Nididhyasanam, Vedantic meditation, where you do this appropriate assimilation of the previous steps of Sravanam and Mananam. And you must do that until you see the truth, until you see with permanent recognition and conviction that all this was just like a dream. You have never lost your Brahmanhood. You have always kept your Brahmanhood. You cannot lose it. So to gain it again anew. You are always Brahman. You will always remain Brahman. The only point is that you keep not noticing it. And as you keep not noticing it, what you need somebody to mention that to you, somebody who plays that role, who is again your own self, your own consciousness. It is consciousness itself that is showing the truth. To whom? Again, to itself. Why? Because there is nobody in the first place. So we need to follow these rules as long as we believe that we are a separate individual, a Jivatma. We will need all these indispensable tools. We will need all these methods. We must do neti-neti. We must say not this, not that. We must do Atma and Atma Viveka. Just to discriminate what is Atma and what is Anatma. We need to do Panchakosa Viveka. We need to discriminate the Panchakosas. We need to clarify what is working as a witnessing consciousness, Saksi Chaitanya. And we need to see that which is always observing and always unchanging can observe the changes, but itself cannot change. I repeat, what is observing all the changes cannot change, and it is our own true self, the Turiyam, the fourth state, or the Satchitananda, the witnessing consciousness, is remaining always unchanging. Always this knowing principle, which is our true nature, our true self. And it is only one. There are no many consciousnesses or many selves or many awarenesses or many Satchitanyams. There is only one. And this is what you are. Whatever appears and disappears in you, the space-like field of consciousness. We'll see later in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna will speak about the field and the knower of the field, which is a very nice verse, very profound. So, anybody else? If not anybody wish to ask or to mention something, we can do a small guided meditation and close our today's Satsanga. So take a comfortable posture. Keep your spine and torso vertical to the ground. Become aware of the entire body, starting from the feet, scan with awareness the entire physical body until you reach the top of the head. Relax completely the physical body. Slowly focus on the breathing. Become aware of the inhalation and exhalation from your nose. Keep your mouth closed. Keep your eyes closed without tension. Become aware of all the thoughts that do appear and disappear. Let them self-liberate themselves. There is no need to fight with them. Become aware that each and every thought appears and then disappears by itself without the need from your side to do anything at all. Especially focus on this space-like field of consciousness screen where each and every thought appears and disappears. What is this screen? Does this screen have a beginning and an ending point? It seems that there is a screen where each and every thought appears and disappears. Become aware of that space-like field, space-like screen of consciousness. It is very important to recognize that this field, this space-like field, screen or consciousness, does not have a beginning or an ending point. Become aware that it is vast. Become aware that something is aware of that screen, of that space-like field. Can you localize that which is aware of that field? That which is aware of that screen, of that space-like field, does it have itself a form or a shape? Can it be recognized? Become aware that that which is aware of this space-like field or screen cannot be imprisoned in what you call my head. It cannot begin or end somewhere. Become aware that this which is aware of the space-like field, the screen, whereupon each and every thought appears and disappears, cannot be localized. Become aware that it is vast and huge. Become aware that it is formless, shapeless. That which is here and now and knows everything that appears and disappears in it does not have any name, any form or shape, any age, any gender, and it is not a human being. Become aware of that which is awareness itself. Completely abstract, completely transcendental. It is just a knowing principle. It is infinite existence, consciousness, bliss. Become aware that it is completely homogeneous reality. It does not have any compartments, any parts in it. Its essence does not have any constituents. It is completely void. Become aware that this, which appears like sunyatam, emptiness, void, is at the same time being observed. There is a principle that can accommodate even sunyatam, emptiness, void. Not only can accommodate emptiness, void, sunyatam, but also knows that. It is a permanent knowing, unchanging knowing. This knowing, it has the ability, the capacity to accommodate and to know even the nothingness, even the lack of everything. Look inside what you call my physical body and see if there is anything else except emptiness, presence inside the body. Does this emptiness presence starts somewhere and ends somewhere? Focus more on that which is aware of that emptiness presence. Focus in this unchanging principle, unchanging knowing. become aware that this knowing, awareness, consciousness is always the same. It never modifies itself. Become aware that it doesn't need anything at all. It is fulfilled. Its nature is infinite tranquility and bliss. It is what you are. Very slowly start moving what you call the physical body, but keep the eyes closed and being aware of the movements. Very slowly open your eyes and look in front of you, unmovable as much as possible, for the next 1 minute, becoming aware of that knowing principle. Which is aware of this looking. Become aware that what is the knower of the looking cannot be located, localized. All right, I think it's enough for tonight. So who would like to chant to close our satsanga for tonight?
May I?
Yes, please.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत् Thank you.